Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here, this time reviewing on issue 218 of The Flash. Now as you know, this story is meant to cover the story of Heatwave, who is meant to be Captain Cold, but with a heat gun and having a more fire protective suit. And let's get on with the story. It starts off with Heatwave cracking down on one fugitive and points out about his urges and that to start fires. And it shows that he is aware of it and has been trying to seek actual help. And it does show that he understands that his obsessions and addictions are getting the better of him, but understands that he doesn't want to be a monster. He doesn't want to hurt people without thinking of the consequences. And it all started at his childhood, where, because of being obsessed with fires and that at a young age, it's clear that his parents started to see some hints, but never really stopped to give him proper help. And one night, feeling cold and all that, he ends up going downstairs, sees a box of matches, and because of his obsessions and addictions, ended up burning the house ablaze with his parents inside. And this does show that Mick is starting to become aware of it at a young age, showing how, you understand that your obsessions and addictions are getting worse, but you can understand it affects others. So, of course, we see how in the present, Mick actually is trying to find the serial killer known as Momo, who is basically killing out the tongues and that of victims. But of course, we see how the police are hot on his trail, mistaking him for being the killer. But he says, "I'm on your side. Don't you read the papers? I'm reformed. I think he's going for it." But of course, we see how he tries to escape, and even going back to one incident where he was bullied relentlessly for wearing winter clothing, and a group of children put him into a sort of meat freezer, and as soon as he got out, he decided to teach them a lesson, but understood just how much worse it was going to get. And we see how he tries to kind of hitchhike and that, ends up going to the circus, being picked up by carnies. So after impressing some girl about making his grandmother's chili, we see how he starts to make it, but of course his addiction affects it again, destroying another good thing in his life, and even ashamed of himself for taking pictures. And this does show you the consequences of addictions as well as obsessions. It can bring out the worst in you. It can damage others. And sometimes people might find it hard to be around you if it gets worse. So we kind of see how after seeing Captain Cold on the news, he decides to make himself his costume, becoming Heatwave. And much like the old 60s comic, it plays out the same events. Captain Cold meeting up with Heatwave and even introducing him to his sort of teammates, like the Pied Piper, the original Trickster, the Top, Weather Wizard, and so on. And it's even clear Captain Cold is getting jealous of Heatwave, but of course makes it clear that he gets less 20%. But even Heatwave knows Captain Cold is full of hot air, and we see right away that both fire and ice do clash, and they both hate each other to some extent. And we even see how beneath it all, Heatwave is just a scared little kid, understanding how much his obsessions and addictions have gotten worse. And we go back to the present. After Heatwave saves a young girl, he takes on Momo, and of course, they both duke it out. And we see how Heatwave starts to get the upper hand, and even knocking off his mask. As soon as he tries to take him out, we see Captain Cold gets in the way and makes it clear to stay out of Keystone City, and as well that even Heatwave points out about these kind of more dangerous new breeds of rogues are giving the originals a bad name, but Captain Cold doesn't care, and also escapes with Momo. And as soon as he gets back to FBI headquarters, we see how he still wants to take on Captain Cold, but even Pied Piper as well as Jaxie Jackson point out that Mick still did good despite what he thinks. And we are shown at, an Irish kind of bar. He wants a drink from the bartender, but once again, his obsessions as well as his addictions get the better of him and ends up doing more harm again. And it's him understanding that he just wants actual help and is aware of it. And this is the story. So I think this one is actually pretty enjoyable. It does show the consequences of addictions, obsessions, and how it can bring out the worst in you and do a lot of harm. And I think the way I do see addictions as well as obsessions are like a demon. It will corrupt you. It will make you into a dark version of yourself, and if you don't see the hints right away, you can end up doing a lot of harm than understanding how it's affecting others. So I think this one definitely deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.